Hello to all my Scorpio friends. Hope you're doing great. Guess what? New moon of Capricorn is coming in on Wednesday, the 13th of December. What does it have to do with Scorpio? And I have understood and found within the ancient texts secrets that will possibly blow your mind. So I'm going to get into the focus of how Scorpio has a concealed connection with Capricorn, and how, if we understand it, we can derive more power, more light, more positive energy through the month of Capricorn and only in the month of Capricorn. So let's first go into the Bible text, because we know that the Bible is coded, and that's why we use the Kabbalah. We need the Kabbalah and the ancient texts to decodify the Bible. Bible was never meant to be a story. Excuse me. So if we understand that, we know that there are the birth of 12 sons of Jacob. Jacob had 12 sons. And why 12? Because we understand through the text that these 12 sons, each one is a vehicle for the 12 signs of the zodiac. 12 sons, 12 constellations, 12 signs of the zodiac. And each one represents a channel of connection or control over that constellation. You always have to remember the constellations and the zodiac was given only as a filtration system so that we could do our spiritual work, to facilitate, if you will, our spiritual work. So if, according to our prior incarnation, we need to learn now, whatever it is that we need to learn, of the many things in life that we could possibly learn, we'll be given that constellation and zodiac sign to be able to do that work, because it will filter out certain things. Therefore, we will feel lack in certain areas of our life. And because we feel a lack, we react to it. And we need to learn how not to react, but rather to overcome. That's part of our work. Why? I'll explain in the Kabbalah crash course coming up very soon in mid-January. Email info@rabbieabe.com if you haven't already, to get information and a registration link if you are interested in joining me for that 3-hour seminar. So I want to go right to the Bible text. Again, it's a code, and we are in Genesis, in the section of Genesis. Let me give you a chapter over here. Genesis chapter 30, okay? Genesis chapter 30, we are in the midst of the birth of the 12 sons of Jacob. And in verse 9, it says like this. Vatera, I'm reading in the Hebrew because it's a connection. I will translate. Vatera Leah ki amdam miled, vakikach et zilpa shivchata v'titen ota leYaakov leisha. So Leah realized that she stopped giving birth. She had given birth already to several children. She stopped. There was a pause. She took her handmaid Zilpah and gave her to Jacob as a wife. Verse 10. Vateret Zilpah shivchat Leah leYaakov ben. And Zilpah gave birth to Jacob a son. Vatomer Leah. And Leah said, now you have to follow what I'm about to say, because I'm about to explain to you a very subtle secret that's written here in the actual Bible scroll. Vatomer Leah Bagad. So Leah said, and I want to read the translation. Leah said, good fortune has come. Good fortune has come. That's not what this word means. Bagad. In Hebrew, bagad means betray, to betray someone, a traitor, a betrayal. Obviously not someone you would trust. Scorpios, are your ears going up? And it continues, Vatikra shmo Gad. Vatikra et shmo Gad. And so therefore, Bagad, it's translated again in English as good fortune. But the word Bagad in Hebrew, you must understand, doesn't mean good fortune. It means to betray someone, okay? But because in Hebrew, this word has in it the word God, Bagad, they named him God, okay? G-A-D, God, one of the tribes, the leaders of the tribe. Now, again, try to follow what I'm about to say. In Kabbalistic understanding, when we read the Torah scroll, the Bible scroll, we generally read it on the Sabbath. Okay? We read this. And it's not explained, it's not understood. It's written in its literal form from the scroll that you see in back. Okay? That's why I have the scenery, the background of a Torah scroll. It's written on parchment. It's written in a very special way without going into the detail. But there are many, many rules with regard, according to Jewish law, with regard to how it must be read, who should read it, and so on. The tune with which it should be read, many things. And there are many things which are concealed within this scroll. Again, it's only read, it's just read as is. Now, these scrolls date back literally to the time of Moses. It's written exactly the same way, not one iota different. Every letter is exactly the same, in the same position, in fact, the same, okay? Which is interesting because there aren't that many documents which are identical as to when they were brought about or written for 35 centuries later, okay, that they're exactly the same. But this one is, okay, this one is, we know that from many sources, history. Okay, part of, again, there is law, but there's a spiritual understanding behind the law, which unfortunately many do not understand, unfortunately. Without Kabbalah, it's very difficult, if not impossible, I would say personally, in my opinion, to understand the true spiritual meaning of what it's about without the Kabbalah, without the understanding. So as far as these rules are concerned with the reading, rules that pertain to reading, just prefacing this idea, just so you understand, those who are not familiar, when we get to this word, bagad, in the Bible text, we are not supposed to read it as it's written. We're supposed to read it differently with a separation in the syllable. And even though in Hebrew it says bagad, as one word, bagad, which means to betray, as I said, we're supposed to read it in two separate words. It's one word, but we're supposed to change it and read it as two separate words, and we are supposed to read it as bagad. Okay? Got that? I know maybe it's complicated. I'm sorry, but I need to explain it. Instead of reading it bagad, betrayal, we read it as bagad, again, as two separate words, and that means, yes, good luck, good fortune has come, as it's translated in the English. So actually, it's not translated appropriately. It is for the way it's supposed to be read, but not for the way it's actually written in the Bible. Now, why? So, and this occurs once in a blue moon, maybe two other times where there's some similar idea where it's written one way and we read it in a different way. And the hint here is because we can change reality. That's what the hint is, according to Kabbalah. We can change reality. So let me explain to you what that actually means. First off, what does it have to do with school? Okay. Now, the letters that rule this month, and we'll put them up here on the screen, are the letters Ayin and Bet. Ayin and Bet. The letter Ayin is for the constellation, or the zodiac sign rather, of Capricorn. And the letter Bet is for planet Saturn, the planet that rules Capricorn, also Aquarius, but we're discussing Capricorn. Now, if we go to the ancient text, that 3,800-year-old text called the Book of Formation, Sefer Yetzirah, here, what does it say about this letter Bet? It says, Kitzad himlich od Bet. The letter Bet presented itself. B'chayim, in life. A crazy thing. This letter Bet presented itself in life, meaning in the attribute of life itself, the opposite of death. Life. What does it mean? V'kashalo keter, and he bound to it, meaning the creator, bound to it a crown. V'tzah bo shabtai ba'olam, and with it he formed Saturn, the planet Saturn, in this world. V'yom rishon b'shana, and the first day of the week, which we call Sunday, The Ayin Yamin Banefesh, and the right eye, in the soul of it, literally in the soul of a human being, because we understand the body exists within the soul. Right, never mind. I don't want to go into it. There. Don't want to go there. Okay. So the letter Bet is connected to life. How do we understand that? What do you mean it's connected to life? Yes, the force of life is this letter Bet. Now, the Zohar says something very strange. The Capricorn, not only the month is not connected to life, it's considered by many, by the Kabbalists, by its nature. Preface that. Its nature as one of the 3 dark months of the calendar year. 3 dark months. What does it mean, a dark month? Dark? Is it bad? It's negative? Well, the Kabbalistic recommendation is not to necessarily start new ventures in the month of Capricorn. What are the other 2 months? They are Leo and Cancer, the month of Leo and the month of Cancer. But wait a minute. When we spoke about Leo and Cancer, we spoke about things of great light, positivity that exists there. And that's true. In fact, we know there's never anything that travels in one direction. The Creator, in his infinite wisdom, created 2 sides to every story. Means for every plus, there's a minus. For every minus, there's a plus. Equal and opposite, because this universe must be in a state of balance, and it's up to us with our own free will, whatever that is exactly. Come to the crash course to understand what free will actually is. But with our free will to choose good, to choose positivity, to choose life. In fact, Moses in Deuteronomy tells people exactly that. He says, here before you, I have given blessing and curse, life and death. Choose life. Well, I mean, Moses, really? Ridiculous. What a ridiculous thing to say. I mean, if you give a person a choice between life and death or blessings and curses, wouldn't we certainly choose blessing? Wouldn't we certainly choose life? No, actually, majority of the time, we do choose the opposite. We don't choose life. We just don't understand that we're not choosing life. But given the choice between what we call the tree of life and all that it represents, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil, which is actually death, in the sense of it's good, bad, being considered death, bad being considered a cessation, a stoppage of life, okay? So we don't generally choose life. And in fact, blessings are also connected here because the letter Bet also, according to the Kabbalists, also stands for blessing, baracha, blessing. Now, everyone has their own definition of blessings. Kabbalah has its own definition of blessings. Blessings, what are they? When it's good for all. It's not just good for me. The market may go up, I may make money, but if I made money in a stock market, someone lost because someone sold short. My stock went up, they lost, and vice versa. So what's good for one doesn't necessarily mean it's good for everybody. But when it's truly good for the individual, it will also be truly good for everyone else, and vice versa. What's truly, when I say truly good, means there's a definition to that. What do you mean it's truly good? It's not just good for me, and it's not just good for you. Good for everybody the same. Everybody. It benefits all. That's called blessing in life. So we hope that whatever it is that we receive in life, if we want blessings in life, we hope that everything that we receive is also good for everybody else. Why is that important? You might not care about everybody else. What about everybody? Because if everyone else is happy, guess what? You're also going to be happy. Trust me with that. So, okay, we have to put some of these pieces of the puzzle together. What does this all have to do? Well, think back, Scorpions, think back to some of the prior videos. And if you haven't seen them, you should watch them where we discuss the 2 letters, Ayin and Bet. Where do we discuss them? In the word for scorpion, a scorpion, and the constellation of Scorpio is called Akrav. Remember, Akrav means a Scorpio. And the two letters at the beginning, the first letter and the last letter of the word for Scorpio or the Scorpion is Ayin and Bet. The same exact two letters that rule the month of Capricorn. What does that have to do with anything? Well, we can create a lot of connections over here. And we certainly can't go through all of them, but I will go through one idea. And this is the aspect of trust. Because as Scorpio people, trust, let's say, doesn't come naturally. It really needs to be proven to a Scorpio that a person can be trusted, if at all. And even when that happens, one letdown or one betrayal, did I hear betrayal? Yes, one betrayal can just, destroy the whole thing. And it's very funny about Capricorn. They want to be trusted. They want you to trust them, which has its own significance. Trust me. You see, Capricorn is the most difficult constellation to be spiritual. Capricorns are very into the physical world. Not so with Scorpion, but because that means I sort of eliminate. It's the most difficult sign to be spiritual. But having said that, if a Capricorn is successful, difficult as it might be to be spiritual, well, they'll be probably more spiritual than most of the other constellations, zodiac signs, okay? Because then they'll be very spiritual, very spiritual. They might even begin to act like an Aquarius, okay? But so, all right. But this trust issue is a huge thing. Why? Because the same tikkun, corrective, karmic correction, tikkun means correction in Hebrew. The same karmic correction is throughout the Capricorn and the Scorpion. Not in the same way, but it's the same tikkun. It's a tikkun. It's a correction of trust, karmic correction of trust. The essence of it is the same. Why? Because a Capricorn says, trust me. I don't know what spiritual is. I don't know what spiritual is, spirituality. I don't know what God is. I know what religion is. Capricorn can be very religious because they like rules, and they like rituals and all. But religion has nothing to do with spirituality. Sorry, it doesn't. You can be very spiritual and not religious. You could be extremely religious and generally not spiritual, okay? It's difficult to integrate the two, meaning the tools with the spirituality, if you want those tools. So for the Capricorn, he doesn't see God in the way that, understand, there's something else, higher force, higher power. No, I'm the higher power. I'm the power. I don't know about higher, but I'm the one who makes things happen, okay? You want something done, tell me, I'll do it. I take care of everything. Until they don't, because guess what? In line with the Bible over here, there is some sense of betrayal in Capricorn. And I can't go into that. I'm sorry, I can't go into that. But there can be a disloyalty of sorts within Capricorn, can be a cheating. Again, a loyal Capricorn is the best Capricorn. But there can be some aspect of cheating in whichever way. So there is a mistrust. There is some essence of a correction of betrayal. When is that corrected? When is that karmically corrected? Well, for a Capricorn, it's when a Capricorn realizes, oh, wait a second, it's not about me. Don't trust me. Trust the Creator. The Creator sent me to you. If I betrayed you, you needed to be betrayed. Now, that's not for the individual to say, obviously. But the truth of the matter is, the Zohar does state, as well as the Psalms, King David said, Kol ha'adam kozer. Every man, every human being is deceitful. Everyone can betray us. Everyone. The Zohar, in a very popular section from the Zohar, it says, La al enash rachitzna. I do not depend on man, do not trust man. I trust in God, who's a God of truth. And the prophets were prophets of truth. Okay, wonderful. But where's God that you should trust him? Does he knock on your door and say, I'm God, trust me? No. So what does this mean? What did King David mean? Everyone. I said in my haste, it says, "Va'ani amati bechofzi kol adam kozev." I said in my haste, everyone is deceitful. What do you mean in your haste? Well, if you were looking at it superficially, which is in your haste, you were looking at it superficially, and you say, you lied to me, you betrayed me. Yeah, you would say that in your haste. Oh, I don't trust you anymore. No good. Yeah, in your haste. And what if it would not be in your haste? What if you were looking deeper? What should you understand? Well, I'll tell you. And I'll tell you for the correction of the Capricorn and for our Scorpions. If someone betrayed you, it's not them who betrayed you. Now, again, if that's what they're habitually doing, and maybe you feel you can't trust them, I'm not saying you should. But if you don't understand that if you didn't need to be betrayed in that moment by someone, and if it wouldn't be them, it'll be someone else, because the universe wants to bring this to teach me a lesson. Do we understand that? And I should, instead of running away and canceling the person, and again, I'm not telling you who you should deal with or not, but if you don't understand the spiritual message behind the betrayal, you're bound to repeat it. You're bound to repeat it. It has to be with someone else. Write him off, write her off. Someone else will gladly come along because it's a karmic issue. It's not, you're doing a dance together. And that's how it is with everybody. So when we are able to get into that headspace, or we're saying, wait a second, I understand. Yeah, it's them, true, but it's not about them. Everyone can be deceitful. Everyone can be my parents also. Everyone can be my best friend. Everyone can be my husband or wife. Everyone is everyone, including ourselves, because we betray ourselves. Think about it. Would you trust anyone? Did you ever make a mistake for yourself? Would we trust anyone who's made as many mistakes as we have for ourselves? No, don't be ridiculous. So why do we write off other people so quickly? Maybe we should not. We should not. Again, the first level is understanding, wait a second, this comes from the universe as a message. As we talk about messages often, this is a message to help me, to teach me, to bring me to some realization. It's here for a reason. So it's bigger than they are. When I am able to truly get into that headspace and trust the happening, trust the situation as this is from the light. This is from the universe. This is from the creator, wherever whatever word you like to use. This is from God. Again, it's not personal. It's only here for me. It's for me. It's not to me. No one ever does anything to us. They do it for us to help us to learn. And when I look at it in that way, when I really begin to get into that headspace with those little betrayals and so on, guess what? By God. What we say in the beginning? Good fortune. Good fortune. And the bet becomes activated as life, the life force, because that's the source of the life force. This letter is a source of life force. This is not a dark month. Not at all. This month has so much light. Remember, Scorpios have the Ayin and Bet, the 72 names, the force of wisdom. And together with this month, wow, it's unbeatable. There's so much power, energy, strength. Should you be careful from being selfish this month? Absolutely yes. Yes. Don't be selfish this month. You connect with negativity. Those 3 months that the Zohar explains means they do have some levels of concealment. That's a code. When it says in the Bible that Moses was hid, when he was a little baby, they put him in the ark and put him, set him to float on the Nile River. It says that he was concealed for 3 months. What are these 3 months? Oh, yes, what I mentioned before. Cancer, Leo, and Capricorn. It's a code for 3 months that the natural force of the divine present, which we call it Shekhinah, is not present by nature. We have to activate it ourselves. But when we do, great light, great light. How are we activating it this month? Look at trust. Don't look at betrayal. Look at trusting the universe, trusting the system, trust how things operate, because it's all divine. The messages that you will get it's all divine. Even someone leads you to seems to betray you, or something seems to betray you. No, don't go there. Instead, say, wait a sec. This is for me to learn. I trust the universe. The letter Bet, Saturn. It's light because it's also the Sabbath, whatever that means. It has an abundance of light. It's Bet, it's bracha, it's blessing. It has an abundance of blessing, an abundance of good. That's what's available this month. So anyone who tells you it's a dark month, don't listen. It can be transformed into one of the greatest months of the entire year. And that's what I got for you guys. Remember the crash course, register or look to register, info@rabbieabe.com. Put crash course in the comment, in the subject line, and I'll see you very soon on the next video. All the best. All the best.